Since bursting out of the minds of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby in 1963, the X-Men have remained one of comics' most powerful and enduring social metaphors. Initially imagined as stand-ins for the icons of the civil rights movement, the heroic students of Xavier's School for the Gifted were characterized by their struggles to save a world that feared and hated them. With each new era in the title's history, this struggle, nicknamed the mutant metaphor, has evolved to encompass more, be it ethnicity, religion, or sexuality. However, one element of the X-Men's history has remained a constant since its introduction in 1981. In the pages of Chris Claremont's Days of Future Past, readers were given a grim look into the future of the mutant struggle, where the species has been hunted to the point of extinction by the man-made death machines known as the Sentinels. In spite of generations of heroics, the X-Men's future seemed destined for tragedy. While mutant kind's place in the world has shifted over the years, from their global expansion in Morrison's New X-Men to their darkest days in Bendis's decimation, the existential threat of Claremont's future casts a long shadow over Charles Xavier's dream of coexistence, leaving readers with a lingering question: is mutant kind's future inevitable? It's this question that, in 2019, writer Jonathan Hickman confronted in House of X and Powers of 10, two intertwining miniseries meant to relaunch the entire line of X-Men books. This was much bigger than a reboot, though. Pulling characters and themes from nearly every era of the title, Hickman and his collaborators are able to explore the next evolution of the X-Men, as a newly united mutant kind does whatever it can to battle for a better future. Through the dual narratives of House of X and Powers of 10, Hickman weaves together a new vision of the X-Men and their place in the Marvel Universe, cleverly framed through the life of Moira McTaggart. Previously one of the team's most valuable human allies, Moira's character is fully reconstructed in House and Powers as a mutant who can reincarnate while holding on to the knowledge of her past lives. While the finer details of Moira's past lives are kept secret, it's revealed that she's lived at least 9 separate times, taking radically different approaches in each, but always coming face to face with the decimation of the species. Moira eventually brings this knowledge to Charles Xavier, forcing him to reevaluate his dream for mutant kind in an attempt to sway the course of history.
It's a bit much, I agree, that it cuts to everything you believe even more so. Still, hard truths are what's called for when dealing with radical realignments to old ways of thinking.
We lose?
No, it's much worse than that. We always lose.
While the X-Men are an enduring symbol of overcoming hatred and bigotry, the very nature of long-form comic storytelling demands a status quo. There are always heroes, villains, and a constant push and pull between Charles's hopeful dream and the grim reality the X-Men fight against. Pulling elements from Days of Future Past, The Age of Apocalypse, and other iconic X moments into Moira's alternate lives, Hickman is able to make a commentary on the title's inherent stagnation, and introduce a means of shattering that mold. And of course, that first major transformation comes through the character of Xavier himself.
I know you will fight me, just like your shade Aeric will fight me. But this time, I mean for all of us to be together. All of us. We've been dreaming the wrong dream, Charles. And it's long past time you woke up.
While the larger stories of mutants dealing with human hate are present in X-Men, the title is also focused on the struggles between the various factions of the mutant species, each with their own designs on mutantdom's future. While initially the distinction between the more heroic X-Men and the villainous Brotherhood of Mutants was clear, the line between them began to blur as readers were introduced to more elements of the mutant metaphor, as well as more complex motivations for characters like Magneto. Over time, the mission statement of the X-Men became less of a call to make a better future, and more of an affirmation of the status quo. This wasn't at all helped by the editorial decisions Marvel made on the title, which destroyed the mutant sanctuary of Genosha, depowered most of the species through House of M, and erased the global subculture themes of Grant Morrison's new X-Men run. In an effort to preserve the title's premise and broad appeal, Marvel ended up stagnating its message. "I suppose the problem nowadays is interpretation," states Hickman in an interview. "Are we talking about a stand-in for marginalized groups, or the metaphor simply being a substitution of the word different or special?" That last bit also has a lot to do with why we've been in a nostalgic feedback loop, where everyone is telling X-Men stories about other X-Men stories. It's this stagnation that Hickman examines and ultimately deconstructs, with Moira's actions and powers leading to an all-new present day in House. Operating under the belief that mutantdom only thrives as one, Moira uses her visions to recruit Magneto to Charles's cause. But Hickman doesn't stop there. Reaching out to old enemies of the X-Men, including the Living Island Krakoa, Mr. Sinister, the Hellfire Club, and even Apocalypse, House and Powers assemble a roster of mutant heroes bigger than we've ever seen before. One nation, one species, dedicated to finally shattering the dark future that lies ahead of it. "We wanted the message to be very clear," states Hickman. "This is a whole new era for the X-Men. This is what we're doing now." With the entire mutant species working in tandem, Hickman spends considerable time in both House and Powers on two parallel struggles: Charles' campaign to establish a mutant nation, and the future wars for mutantdom survival. Together, the citizens of Krakoa craft a language, advancements in technology and medicine, and even the beginnings of a culture. To plan their future, leaders from each of the old factions form a quiet council, and armed with Moira's knowledge, plan to secure the species' future by eliminating possible threats before they arrive. Issue 3 of House depicts the power of this new unity, as the council dispatches a strike force led by Cyclops to destroy a mother mold, a self-aware factory that will build next-generation Sentinels. Parallel to this story, Powers depicts a distant future where these Sentinels have led to a post-human society, wholly devoted to exterminating the last of the mutants. Initially, the story presents itself as a foregone conclusion. We witness each of the present-day X-Men give their lives to end this threat, only to see it continue generations in the future. However, at the end of issue 3 of Powers, Hickman delivers an incredible twist. These future events have already taken place in one of Moira's past lives, and through this foresight, the X-Men have already planned for the worst. Through the newly expanded Cerebro, the genetic records of Sinister, and a team of mutants known as the Five, Xavier is able to resurrect all of Krakoa's fallen, from both past and present.
Did it work?
It did. You succeeded, and your sacrifice was not in vain. It was a gift, and in the giving you saved us all.
While death and resurrection have always been a part of the X-Men books, this moment in particular is saturated, heavy with meaning. After enduring bigotry, fear, and death for generations, the X-Men are finally in a position of power, able to reclaim everything and everyone they've lost along the way. While the rogue elements of Krakoa's leadership, namely Sinister and Sebastian Shaw, thrive on chaos, the rest of the Council temper them and keep the new nation on course. The Five and their restorative powers give mutants the ability to defend Krakoa to their last breath and beyond, giving them a fighting chance against the limitless resources of Orcus and humankind. Through trade deals for their advanced technology and pharmaceuticals, Krakoa has placed itself atop the global food chain, and deals humankind a powerful ultimatum.
We are the future, an evolutionary inevitability, the Earth's true inheritors. You closed your eyes last night believing the world would be yours forever. That was your dream, and like mine, it was a lie. Here is a new truth. While you slept, the world changed.
Hickman, along with artists Pepe Larraz and R.B. Silva, make sure to frame Krakoa as a mutant paradise, the likes of which has never been seen before. But House and Powers are also quick to hint that this paradise comes with a cost. Moira's revelations have left a clear mark on the Professor, who's traded his warmth and idealism for a colder, more utilitarian approach. Larraz and Silva's art further augment the Professor's transformation, cloaking him in a look similar to another of Hickman's creations, the villainous Maker. This shift in character recolors Xavier's actions throughout the book, giving his most inspiring moments a sinister new energy. Charles' new leadership has brought change to his students as well. This new group of X-Men have become more militaristic, striking with precision and a singular focus. Save their species, no matter the cost. While the twist at the end of issue 3 implies a shift in this ongoing war, elements of the Omega cycle start surfacing throughout House of X, hinting that the war between mutants and machines hasn't ended, but instead evolved. Even within Krakoa, Hickman casts doubt on the unity of the new nation, showing new factions operating outside of the Quiet Council's authority. These secrets are fleshed out even further through the book's info pages, which act as an objective, unbiased source of information, often undercutting characters' words and deeds. The further the reader travels into the narrative, the larger these dangers loom over the developing nation. Can Krakoa overcome the fault of its predecessors and change the outside world for the better? Or is mutant kind doomed to suffer the foregone conclusion of the Omega cycle? Taking control of X-Men after 2015's Secret Wars, Hickman saw a unique opportunity, not only for the main title, but the entire X line. I didn't feel like just doing a new #1 was enough, he states. I also didn't think that we should have a mixed message in the market about what an X book is. So I argued for canceling the entire line. Why it would work, why it was a good idea, and most importantly, why it was what we needed to do narratively to return the X-Men to their rightful, prominent position in the Marvel Universe. Hickman's new vision for Marvel's mutants wasn't just an injection of spectacle. It was an invitation to drill deeper into the title's potential than ever before. Through the newly realized nation of Krakoa, Hickman brings a new focus to the mutant metaphor. Shifting the fantasy, he asks what could happen if the marginalized people of the Marvel Universe didn't have to appeal to those in power, instead forming their own commonwealth and demanding the respect they're due. Krakoa is a literal paradise for mutant kind. After being shunned from society because of their appearance or gifts, they finally built a nation where everyone has value and works together for the betterment of all. Of course, to the rest of the world, Krakoa is a grim warning of things to come. Mutants gathering and radicalizing, developing products that threaten the rest of the world's economies. And using that unease, Hickman is able to interrogate a world that labors so hard to keep power where it is. Jonathan Hickman's always been known for his ambitious, sprawling storytelling, and with House of X and Powers of 10, he built on every era of the X-Men title to deliver a powerful message. You want to tell stories that matter, states Hickman, but the way you write things that matter in Marvel is that you're not destructive, you're additive. I think the X-Men is about finding the family that you never knew you had, one that accepts you for who you are, who loves you at your best and worst, and who shares your dreams for what the world can be. For decades, the X-Men were idols to readers who felt different from the world around them, with the mutant metaphor shifting focus to represent different marginalized groups over the years. With these two stories and the relaunch of the entire X-Men line, the metaphor becomes a bold, uncompromising declaration. It's a new dawn for the X-Men. Long may they reign. Hey everyone, and thanks so much for watching my video on House of X and Powers of 10. I knew this year I wanted to try something new and different, and with everything happening in the X-Men books, I thought it was the perfect opportunity to dive back into Marvel and really rediscover my love for these characters and their stories. If you liked this video, I'd really appreciate it if you liked, shared, commented, and if you're feeling generous, subscribe. I've got plenty more in store for 2021, so till next time, pick up some great comics, stay safe, stay healthy, and look out for your fellow geeks.